I'm not exaggerating when I say Heretic was so close to being a genuinely unique religious horror masterpiece with one of the best acting performances of the entire year. Sadly, it doesn't fully stick the landing for me, but here's my full spoiler-free thoughts on the best and worst parts of the movie. The movie follows these two young Mormon missionary girls, Sister Barnes and Paxton, and they end up going to this one guy's house and knocking on his door, expecting to convert him to become Mormon. But they knock on the door and it's Hugh Grant that answers, playing Mr. Reed, and they quickly find out they're in way over their heads. He's making them question all of their beliefs and religion as a whole and pretty much forcing them to play his cat and mouse mind games. Hugh Grant is what makes this entire movie work. Half of the film is pretty much him just dumping this dialogue on these two girls about his ideas about religion, belief, the core of all of it, and making them question things. And he plays his character in a way that is so charming and amusing, but also genuinely terrifying at times in a way that is just so impressive. I don't know how we haven't had Hugh Grant in more horror movies before this, but I hope he does more after. He was perfect in the psychotic role. But at the same time, he's also very smart and makes a lot of sense in his things. Definitely depending on your views of religion as a whole, this movie might really work or not work for you. That's what makes the movie really work for me. This entire idea of tackling belief as a whole, why people believe what they do, what religion's true purpose is. Everything is like this psychological thriller of just breaking down belief systems worked really well for me. Where the film kind of loses some of the sauce is in the third act, because it gets a lot more traditional horror movie-esque. It's not like the third act and any of this movie lose the themes and ideas of earlier in the film. They are still there and very much driving the plot forward, but I feel like it also just tries to go for a lot more typical horror movie moments, trying to get some jump scares in that aren't really that effective. I think characters just make those classic horror movie decisions that really just don't make a lot of sense and feel like they're dumb choices being made in real time. There's characters putting things together that I didn't feel like also was satisfying. It's not like it's terrible or anything. I just feel like the third act could have been handled a little bit differently, and the entire movie set him to be this more psychological thriller, and then they kind of throw that away towards the end. I did really enjoy Sophie Thatcher in this movie as one of the Mormon missionaries. I thought her performance was good and her character was interesting. The other girl is played by Chloe East, who's not doing a bad job whatsoever with the character she's given, but this character is honestly another kind of one of my problems. I didn't think she was particularly amazing, and I feel like there's just a huge change in her from the very beginning to the end. I don't know, I feel like it could have been further developed a little bit better, but I don't blame the actress whatsoever. She's only been in like 4 movies and her performance was good. It's just the script kind of. I will also say this movie does definitely have kind of a slow start. Like the first 20 to 25 minutes really take a minute to get going into the really interesting stuff, but I do think the stuff in the very middle of this film that, like I said, is essentially just Hugh Grant just yapping to these girls, all that stuff was just so captivating to me, and the ideas were being displayed and kind of attacked in a way that just really spoke to me uniquely, that I honestly kind of can forgive a lot of the other mistakes of this movie. And it's ultimately a movie that I think no matter which side of the coin you're on, if you're a super religious person or someone that's not religious at all, I think it can leave both sides kind of questioning things, thinking deeper about the topic. And when you're talking about a horror movie, that's a really impressive feat to make, honestly. Well, I definitely have some problems with this film. I think it's a really solid attempt at what it was trying to do, and it was way closer to being a masterpiece than it was being a disaster of a movie. I'll definitely be rewatching it again. I give the movie a very strong 7.5 to an 8 out of 10 if I'm being honest, and just forgiving some of those things, it probably is like an 8 for me. So let me know if you're excited to go see this movie, or if you have seen it, let me know your rating for it 1 through 10 below in the comments, and make sure to click below me to check out another video on the channel.